Could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Joel Kitchens. I'm a candidate for the 1st Assembly District seat.
There is a high unemployment rate in Door County, especially among young people. What would you do to create more jobs for young people in Door County?
Well, I think, job creation, there are two parts of that really. The one thing is that we need to train people to be ready for the jobs that are out there. There are a lot of jobs that are unfilled right now, and I think that starts with guidance counseling in high school and even before high school to get people ready to think about jobs that they actually can take in the future. Our businesses in Sturgeon Bay, all in the industrial park and that type of thing, are all looking for people. So that's one part of it, is just training people for the jobs that this century demands. And the other part of it is just helping businesses to create jobs, because it is the businesses, not the government, that creates jobs. So we need to be an ally in helping them when they meet their challenges, and we've had multiple examples in Sturgeon Bay of where businesses needed a little help, whether it was acquiring land or whatever, and we help them to achieve those goals, and then they could go on and hire people. So it's a two-pronged thing. You want people that are ready to take the jobs, and then you want the jobs to be there.
Out of Door, Kewaunee, Manitowoc, and Sheboygan counties, Door County has the highest poverty rate. What initiatives would you support to help low-income individuals and families improve their situation?
Well, a big part of the reason that Door County has such a high rate is we have such a tourist economy. It is an awful lot of our economy. So we need to address that first off. I think there have been a lot of efforts made to increase the tourist season, so that we have in the fall and in the spring and even in the winter, that we have more tourists up here to help with those jobs. So that's part of it. But we also need to diversify the economy. We need to grow the manufacturing, which is year-round, high-paying jobs. So those are really the things that we need to look at to change that.
What can be done to help Wisconsin students with large loan debts?
Well, first off, I'd like to see them not go into as much debt to start with. I have 3 children, 2 of them in their 20s, and 1 is in college right now, so nobody knows better than me how much the cost of college education is escalating. So that's one thing. And Governor Walker has put a freeze on the tuition in the state schools. When he found that they were running like a $1 billion cash reserve, he put that freeze on there, and I would certainly support continuing that freeze to help keep the costs down. Another part of it is we discussed with the counseling and talking to kids about what they want to go into. I think too many times kids go to college, go to 4-year schools when they don't really know what they want to do. And I don't want to discourage anybody from getting an education, certainly, but there are an awful lot of those kids that would have been better served economically to have gone to maybe a vocational school, learned a trade where they could actually make a living. I think that the student debt, it's not nearly as big a deal if you actually have a job when you graduate. The problem is that so many of them graduate and don't have jobs. So that's part of it. There have been proposals to try to cap the interest rates on student loans, and I'm certainly willing to look at those. When I get down there, I want to look at the budget and see how it fits in, but I think those are all parts of that puzzle.
In the beginning of the year, 38,000 residents of Wisconsin were dropped from Badgercare. What is your plan to make sure no one is left without insurance coverage? Yeah,
that decision to forego the Medicaid expansion was that's certainly a controversial decision. The federal government does have a history of starting these programs and then backing out on their commitment to it and leaving the states holding the bag, and that's why I think that they decided to not accept that. Now, since that time, the estimates have gone up over what it's going to cost, so I want to look at that very carefully. I'm a Republican, but I don't feel tied to following what they have started. So if I get down there and you see and the estimates come back very high, I think we need to look at that. But I will say that yes, there were people dropped from Badgercare that were slightly above the poverty rate, but those people also have access to very highly subsidized insurance through the insurance exchange. And that's actually much better insurance than what they would get through Medicaid if you look at the outcomes of medical procedures and that type of thing. And often for young people, it's like $6 a month to have a very good health insurance policy. So yes, they were dropped, but there still is a very good option that they can be covered. And I think overall, again, I think it goes back to jobs. It all goes back to jobs. If we can have good paying jobs and people have benefits, then we don't have to worry about that nearly so much.
How do you feel about increasing job training initiatives and making higher education opportunities more affordable?
Well, we touched on some of the higher education, but I certainly am in favor of training initiatives that, again, you know, with the baby boomers retiring, there's so many of those positions out there right now. Just in our area, there are like 12,000 jobs, high-paying manufacturing jobs that are going unfilled. So I'm all in favor of it. And the governor has, there's the Fast Forward program that he's initiated that had bipartisan support, that trained people in cooperation with businesses to learn some of the trades, the building trades and others, and we've taken advantage of that here in Door County. So I definitely support that job training, and again, I support the tuition freeze as well.
How do you feel about campaign finance reform? Would it hurt campaigns or help them?
Well, you know, I hate the ads as much as anybody. I've been listening to public radio lately because they don't have political ads on. They drive me crazy too. But when you talk about campaign finance reform, you have to be pretty careful what you're talking about. First off, there have been some pretty good reforms. We are accountable now. We have to report everyone that contributes to our campaigns, and there are limits put on what we can take in for people. For my race, it's $500 for an individual or from a political action fund. So that's, you know, you're not getting huge amounts of money from any one particular donor, and again, they have to report all of that. The real problem, I think, comes from the third-party groups, and we see the very nasty ads that are on TV and in the mailers and all of that. And the Supreme Court ruled in 2010 that those groups, whether it's business groups or unions or teachers, that they have freedom of speech rights to spend as much money as they want on that. So that's the biggest problem, I think, that most people have with the way the campaigns are run, is all those endless third-party ads. And really, unless the Supreme Court changes their ruling, we can't do anything about that. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thanks, and I should have said before, I really appreciate you doing this. I think it's very important for us to get young people in particular engaged in following the issues in voting. So thanks and good luck.
Thank you.